Standard labs, in my opinion, and the experts that I work with, they are dangerous. So, two problems. First, they say it's comprehensive and it isn't. They miss critical labs, and I'll show you some of those critical labs here today and where to get them in optimal ranges. Which leads me to problem two, really wide ranges. So you could be anywhere in this ridiculously wide range and you're going to start to suffer all of these symptoms. And the older you get, the worse it becomes. Now, this video here, I recommend that you check it out. It's the last video that I did. It is linked below. And I did say in this video that the system, well, I said YouTube would probably censor it, and I'm certain that they did. The system lied about testosterone. So if you want the truth there, check it out. And the reason for that is it's like a benchmark for men's health, longevity, and vitality. And guess what else? They will gaslight you. They will tell you that it's no big deal. As you age, it's supposed to come down, which is unequivocally false. So check out that video to learn the truth. Because when your T is low, you have either an autoimmune disease process happening, which is very easy to identify. And I'll give you two solutions in this video to finally get a framework to get your health back and your testosterone optimized. Because if you're suffering with decreased energy, vitality, well-being, and motivation, a lot of men are, that's a problem. What about diminished physical and performance at work? Which leads me to impaired cognition, your moneymaker, poor concentration and memory. What about your mood? Is it up and down all over the place? Do you feel sad or blue? Could be this. And I used to suffer from this one here. I can remember being at work at lunchtime and I could hardly keep my eyes open. Increased sleepiness and fatigue. Now, I'm 53 and thriving. Now, the issue is if you don't pay attention to optimal labs, eventually your man juice is going to tank. Your testosterone will decline if you don't optimize this. That's because your testes, your ball sack that makes testosterone will shrink. So I'm sure you don't want that, which will lead to poor libido, erectile dysfunction. So as you can see there, it's a pretty big deal. So if you haven't watched that video, the system lied about testosterone. So if you want the truth, it's below. Now, right here, there's a lot of things that will lower your testosterone, and here's just a few. And at the end of this, I will give you two solutions, so stick around for that. So if you got stress, hyperinsulinemia, xenoestrogens, poor blood labs and inflammation, that will reduce your testosterone and you'll have these symptoms. Now that makes it exponentially worse still because that upregulates aromatization. So that is taking what little testosterone you got left and aromatizing it into estrogen. So when that happens and you got all of these issues there, that increases estrogen production by upregulating aromatase, the conversion of testosterone into estrogen tenfold, which then increases cortisol, which further upregulates aromatization ninefold, which further upregulates your appetite and insulin, and further upregulates aromatase sixfold. So that's a full 25-fold conversion of what little testosterone you got left into estrogen. Now, we are told that testosterone causes aggression. That is unequivocally false. Please listen to Professor Huberman.
And it is actually testosterone aromatized, converted into estrogen, and then binding to these estrogen-containing neurons in the ventromedial hypothalamus that triggers aggression. I want to repeat that. It is not testosterone itself that triggers aggression. It is testosterone aromatized into estrogen within the brain and binding to these estrogen receptor-containing neurons in the ventromedial hypothalamus that evokes aggression, and dramatic aggression at that. Now, this effect of estrogen causing aggression in the brain is very robust, so much so.
And this was published in Endocrinology in 2012, and there's many more like them. Now, we've also been told that testosterone or dihydrotestosterone will cause prostate cancer. It's actually the low T and aromatization to E. that's driving all of these issues. So enlarged prostate, man boobs, obesity. Now, you mightn't be obese yet. You could be struggling with a stubborn body fat. And that can lead to heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, which will age you exponentially fast, hyperinsulinemia, and of course, erectile dysfunction. So, as you can see there, we really need to optimize these labs. And I've got two solutions for you, which leads me to this. So, we can test antibodies to make sure that you're not destroying your organs. So let that sink in. I learnt this when I went through the training of Dr. Daddis. I took his gut health, food sensitivity, his autoimmune, brain health, and thyroid health. And I learned a lot. It took me close to 2 years to go through all that training. So he's got a PhD, DHSC, DC, MS, highly educated. So this is what he talks about antibody testing. This is really easy to do. Now, what I want to tell you is that you could be in stage one. So you've got the antibodies, but no symptoms yet. A few years later, you start to get the symptoms. Gut issues, a bit of fatigue. You know, the body's not looking the way it used to be. Your memory's not too sharp. So now you got symptoms and the antibodies. Now, the medical system won't treat you and it doesn't fix you. You still have this issue ongoing. It just takes away the pain until your tissues are being destroyed. I couldn't believe this when I heard Dr. Data speak about this. So I'm going to play this excerpt. So really pay attention to how serious these labs are and how the medical system, they're just not there to optimize this. That's the problem.
Now, the healthcare system is only designed to look for stage 3. They don't do antibodies in the initial stages. Insurance companies don't pay for antibodies in the early stages. And even though the research has shown that antibodies can be predictive for autoimmune diseases, it's not part of routine healthcare. So there's a gap between what research finds and then what actually gets implemented in the healthcare system. So if you're walking into your insurance model, healthcare model, there's going to be no effort or diagnostic testing even approved designed to look for these early antibodies that will determine if you have autoimmunity. And because of that, many people suffer for years and years and years before they get diagnosed because they're not in stage 3 where they have full tissue destruction. So that's the concept of autoimmunity stages. Stage 1, silent, just the antibodies, no symptoms. Stage 2, they start to have symptoms for whatever tissue is being attacked by their immune system. And stage 3, they finally progress into a disease process. And remember I showed you those statistics in the first part of the course where they showed 50 million people may have autoimmune disease, or 4% of the world population may have it, or 12% of women has autoimmune disease. Those are all in reference to stage 3. If you actually look at the numbers of people that are in stage 1 or 2, the numbers would be much, much higher than those with autoimmune disease. So here's a person who's got...
All right. So you're here before they even decide to treat you, and they don't treat you. They just take away the pain with corticosteroids and things like that. So you can pick it up here. So can you see how important that is? You know, these autoimmune disease processes, like here's a list of them. I mean, wow. And you can check for all of this. It's really, really easy to do. Another big thing that we see quite frequently is gut issues. Now, a lot of people have irritable bowel syndrome. They've got no clue. So a little bit of gut pain here, a little bit of bloating there, a bit of flatulence, and they think, oh, no big deal. This is just normal. No, it ain't fucking normal. So you gut brain excess. So you want self-doubt, negative thoughts and shit like that, extra stress? Probably not. And when you got stress, you can't even repair your gut in the first place. So it gets worse and worse and worse as you age, which leads to anxiety, which is what I had. I had gut issues. I had panic attacks, social anxiety. I was a mess. Depression, schizophrenia, even autism. Wow. And of course, your moneymaker. Brain diseases, dementia, Parkinson's, ALS, all of that crap. And right here, your endocrine axis, your hormones, your testosterone's tanking. And what's replaced with it? Stress and anxiety, because your T's low. And then number 2 down here, you got reproductive axis. That's your ball sack, hypogonadism, primary. And then the skin axis. So you probably don't want wrinkles at an early age, do you? Or maybe 50 or 60. That's what's going to happen. And you also get things like acne, cirrhosis, atopic dermatitis, eczema, and also alopecia, early hair loss. As you can see here, gut health and alopecia, and even nutrient deficiencies. And a lot of people do have nutrient deficiencies. Now let's segue into inflammation. So we've got to get at the root cause of inflammation. Now here's the big problem currently in the medical system. Very rarely will they do a comprehensive inflammatory check. Here's one of them, high sensitive CRP. So they will tell you that if your CRP is between 1 and 3, off you go. That's fine. And that's what a lot of my clients say to me. This gentleman came to me and said, my physician, he said, it's 1.7. That is fine. It's not fine. In functional medicine, we like to see at least 1 and below, ideally 0.5 and below. Because if you're above 1, your T is going to be low, your estrogen is going to be up, so you're going to be aromatizing your estrogen, as your testosterone into estrogen, 25-fold, and it starts to lead to all of these diseases. So 45, 55, 65, heart disease, Parkinson's, dementia, ALS, autoimmune disease, and we've just discussed that. And we can check stage 1 before it even starts to have symptoms. Arthritis. So this is what happened to me. I was in an autoimmune disease process for years. I had 5 shoulder surgeries because of this. I had no clue. I just brushed it off as, oh, I've got a bit of bloating. I've got a bit of gut pain. No. Cancer, lupus, fibromyalgia, and chronic fatigue syndrome. Wow. And Dr. Amy B. Keelan here, she's going to talk about erectile dysfunction and the primary drivers of it. So it's going to lower your T when you're in this process. But you get to a place where you can't even perform in the bedroom. Your fertility, your libido, and your erections, they get pretty weak and flaccid. Check it out.
Open. So the blood comes in, but the blood then goes right back out of these open veins because you haven't expanded fully and you don't have a full erection. Does that make sense? So this is called venous leak, CVOD, but it's not a vein problem. It's actually a problem with the cells inside the corpora cavernosa. These cells, these smooth muscle cells, are the problem. Now, what causes these cells to die? Oxidative stress of some sort. So things that cause inflammation and oxidative stress can increase the death of these cells. So that could be just age, but it also could be poor lifestyle choices. It could be diabetes or high blood pressure. It could be a high sugar diet. It could be not exercising. Also, low testosterone over time could do that.
Low testosterone over time will cause that. The medical system says no. It's supposed to happen, they say. And it's fine if it's like 250 or 300. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with all of these symptoms here? Probably not. And don't forget to check out this video here. It's linked below. Now, if you guys like this information and you resonate with it, drop a comment below. Tell me what you think and consider giving it a like and maybe a share. It really helps me reach men. I'm passionate about getting men back into their prime because we don't want this mess. We don't want to get in those pissy moods and make it all worse, do we? We want to thrive and rise up under pressure. Now, here's another one. Actually, I'll come back to this one. Let's just go here with inflammation. I mean, shit, damn. This is our typical 82-year-old brain. This is a PET scan. You see this here? Ataxia. Your brain is rotting away, and it can take 2 to 3 decades before they ship you off to a nursing home. So all you need to fix that is these things here. So up the top here, water your brain with healthy levels of hormones, dihydroepiandrosterone, a neural steroid, testosterone and estrogen at the right ratio, thyroid hormone, which we'll talk about next, growth hormone, vitamin D in optimal levels, and of course, get rid of this shit, upregulate BDNF, brain fertilizer, stem cells. So when you got this inflammation, look at the mess your brain's in. Check it out. So they say that's fine. You've got low-grade inflammation. So crosstalk between inflammatory pathways and neural circuits in your brain lead to behavioral responses such as avoidance. It's just like, fuck, man, just leave me alone. Just give me that beer and that pizza. And alarm, negative thoughts, self-sabotage. I mean, shit. So, anhedonia, depression, anxiety, avoidance, emotional dysregulation, fatigue, fear, hypervigilance, worry. We are anxious and weak, and it's not our fault. We were born into this mess, and we can fix it. Thyroid panel. So I learned this from Daddis. As he says, it can be frustrating when your labs are normal, but you feel like shit. They will tell you that your thyroid stimulating hormone is okay when it's between 0.5 and 5.5. So you're ebbing and flowing between being tired and fatigued and stressed and anxious. And when you optimize your health and your labs, you get here and stay there. Now, thyroid hormone, energy, it increases your metabolism, testosterone, detox, brain health. Are you okay with being here and here all over the shop? Probably not. So you have to have comprehensive testing if you do have any of these issues. Like they very rarely check TPOs. These are the antibodies we've been discussing. Conventional medicine claims to be evidence-based, but the evidence clearly supports the need for comprehensive labs. So if your TPO levels are elevated, tissue damage, you're in an autoimmune disease process. And that can lead to any autoimmune disease process, as Dad has said there. So you got the antibodies, but no symptoms yet. So you could be in your 20s and starting this way. Then you start to have symptoms in your 30s, 40s and 50s. You're on drugs that are never going to fix the issue. It just festers away. And you got that inflammation and your brain's turning to mush. I don't know about you, but it's kind of shocking. So if you like this information, guys, drop a comment below and like and share. Now, another lab that they don't check, homocysteine. So if they do check your homocysteine, they'll say 14.5 and below, you're good. No. Ideally between 5 and 7, but 8 as a maximum there. Now, when your homocysteine's above that, not good. Cardiovascular disease, and they blame cholesterol. Brain diseases, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. You got hearing and eyesight issues, your testes, and if you're a woman, your ovaries, endocrine system, diabetes, kidneys. So, bit of a mess out there, isn't it? So, what is healthy testosterone? It's a great question. Now, you don't need to go chasing super high levels. So, men have different potencies of androgen receptors. They're called polyglutamine repeats, CAG repeats. Some people have long repeats, so they might need 800 or 1,000. Now, some men have short repeats. They might only need 450 or 550. So it's about your affect. So what I tell the people that I help, how do you feel? Are you motivated? Do you have get up and go? Is your body lean and muscular? If you're training at the gym, you're doing everything right, your circadian rhythm's on point. So it's all about your affect, how you feel. You don't need to chase high levels. All right, so that's really important to understand. Now, right here, 2 options. Link below, I've got a link to a website where you can work with functional doctors. So that's option 1. The second option is to send me a message on WhatsApp, and I'll give you 2 PDFs to download with all of these labs and how to do them by yourself. So two solutions there. Now, I want to finish on one thing. We've tested over 320 people, and about 90% have either celiac or gluten sensitivity. Now, that's a big issue because if you want your moneymaker to thrive, this is Dr. Daddis. Check it out.
They continue to have problems with them. So lots of papers have been published where they see white matter lesions throughout the brain. This is, for example, another study which shows lack of blood flow with people that have gluten sensitivity, and this is one with celiac disease. And for the most part, inflammation in the gut causes inflammation in the brain. And it's not uncommon to see what are called hyperintensities, these white matter lesions with people that have gluten sensitivity. And numerous studies have now shown that people that have any kind of inflammation in the gut, like any kind of inflammatory bowel disorder, have a much, much, much higher rate of these white matter lesions in their brain, which is basically inflammation destroying parts of the sheath of the brain called myelin. So those are pretty important. So, gluten is a serious issue. If you have any kind of cognitive decline, you should know about these. And then there's been studies published where they identify these white matter lesions. You can see them here on MRI, and people go on a gluten-free diet, and sometimes they completely resolve.
Yeah, gluten's big toxic, and a lot of times it's sprayed with glyphosate, and that's another conversation too, and it's pretty toxic. But as you can see here, cerebral calcifications and celiac. So you've got celiac gut, you've got celiac skin, and celiac brain. Gluten is pretty big toxic. So this is 1 year. So you see the white matter lesions? So completely resolved in 1 year on a gluten-free diet. Now, a lot of times you think you're doing gluten-free, but you're not, because they put it absolutely everywhere. And a little bit can cause an exaggerated inflammatory response and hyperactivation of your immune system for months. For months. So you got to do this properly. So if you like this information, legends, drop a comment below. Check out this video here. Let me bring it to front. The system lied about testosterone, so if you want the truth there, and it doesn't decline as you age. It doesn't decline. Men have an unfair advantage. And the foundation is to see where your labs are and work towards getting in an optimal range. So I provided 2 solutions there. Link below to another website where you can work with functional doctors to get this right. Or if you want, send me a message on WhatsApp and I'll give you these 2 PDFs to download, and you can do this by yourself. All right. So there it is. I hope you found this informative and helpful.